We have card 33, door to romance. And card 37, the third chakra, and this is Archangel Chamuel. Okay. That's weird. That's interesting. Let's get into this. Okay, no. Your guides are telling me to not flip these cards over. Your guides are trolling me, in other words, because they know how nosy I am. Like, of course, I want to see these cards before we even talk about it. And they're like, no. We will talk about this because I guess there's something that needs to come to the surface before we see what these are. And yeah, for me, that is annoying. I want to know. So let's see. I am picking up on some kind of synchronicity here. So that might be what it is. It's a pause. It might be a test in my patience, to be honest with you guys, but I think there's some message about threes being significant to you in this connection, especially with the 33. I see 333 here, but I think there's a special attention being placed on the 33. I'm actually getting kind of an odd message about this number synchronicity. And it could be like, it could be literal, it could be relating to the repeating threes, but for some of you, it's not that, it's some other sign that has stood out to you. Connected to either your own personal growth or specifically connected to this connection. But I'm kind of getting the message that during this separation, your person has started to notice and to tune into some of the same signs that you were picking up on or that you are picking up on. I think it's different for everybody, but it might be something that you were experiencing before, like when you were still with this person or right when you met them, and you might have even tried to tell them about it or something like that, but it's like it's happening for them now. Or they're starting to see it, they're starting to get it. This could have been something you connected on with this person. This is why your guides are having me hold off on this, because they know I'm going to get distracted. And there's some message with there's some message here with these threes. Yeah, this could have been something that you were connecting over, or it could have been something they didn't even see at the time. And I'm kind of getting the feeling that it's like they might literally be noticing something at the exact same time that you are, so it might not have to do specifically with numbers, but it's like a synchronicity thing. The same time you see that, it's the okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting all excited. I'm about to blurt stuff out because your guides just showed me the moon. So it's like, for some of you, it's the same time you look up at the moon, they're looking up at the moon. And there's this synchronicity of timing of like, we're both noticing the same thing, or we're both feeling very connected through looking at the moon or looking at a particular star or something like that. Your guides are hilarious and so distracting. I'm seeing too, you're also sometimes seeing the same time on the clock. That's either at the exact same time, I guess if you're in the same time zone as this person, it might be that you look at the clock at 3:33, for example, because for some of you that's what it is. They look at the clock at that same time. And it might not be that this is actually happening at the same time, but it could be that you're both noticing the same time on the clock over and over and over again. I don't know why, like I'm starting to see actually a huge part of how this separation is affecting them is they are seeing all of this stuff. That's why your guides were like, hold on. They're seeing all of this stuff. This is a major effect that's happening because they're like, oh my gosh, every time I look at the clock, it says, you know, like it says 33 or it says 333 or it's 12:34, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's some kind of synchronicity here. They're seeing fives everywhere. They're seeing, and it feels like it might be picking up for them, or like they're making the connection between these signs that they're seeing and the connection. And if this was something that was happening for you before, that's why your guides are like, they need to hear this, because You could have even felt like you were going crazy at some time in this connection. Like everything was just speeding up for you so much, and you were noticing all these things, and you're like, I'm losing my mind. And then this person didn't really get it. It's like they're starting to see it now. It's not just numbers. I feel like I've already said this is really not just numbers, because these hearts are looking like butterflies. They're looking a lot like butterflies to me right now. So that's just confirmation for me that it is any kind of sign, number, animal, names, seeing your name everywhere, and weirdest thing, clouds. If that resonates, please leave me a comment, because that is the strangest thing. That might be relevant to some of you, but they're seeing this stuff, like they're seeing shapes in the clouds, or there's some connection the two of you have over clouds. It's again that sky imagery, so there might just be something you connect over having to do with the sky. It could even be birds, but having to do with looking up at the sky, looking at the stars, looking at the moon, things like that. Yeah. So this door to romance card actually talks about new beginnings in love. This can be about bringing more love into the connection that's already been formed between the two of you. And the third chakra, it really deals with not only our life force energy, but that's kind of a big one, but also our emotions of desire. So what I'm seeing here is that this separation is causing a lot of desire within your person to move closer to you, to explore a deeper connection with you. For some of you, that has to do with dreaming about you, fantasizing about you. This could even get a little bit steamy. There is definitely a reference to the building of some kind of desire and the building of some sort of energy. So, yeah, they miss you. I feel like they miss you in a very physical way for those of you who were physically with this person, but even if you never were, it's like they're fantasizing about some of the more physical aspects and like planning things. It could be planning dates, planning to be with you romantically. That's happening. That's building. That's growing. It's giving me the feeling of like the longer the separation is in place, the more they want you, the more they want to be with you, the more they're thinking about you and fantasizing about you. Yeah. There's actually sort of this feeling of excitement here, which is a little bit odd, because there's almost like this anticipation or this expectant energy around this connection, even though the two of you are in separation right now. I'm finding that energy very strange, not what I expected. There's also kind of the sense of your person gaining or regaining confidence during this period of separation. So something that's going on in their life, or that has gone on in their life, might have bolstered their confidence a little bit. But I feel like that's tied to that excitement. They're feeling confident about something. They're feeling excited. They're feeling hopeful. This is weird. What is this? I don't want to miss it. For some of you, this is coming through as this person might have made changes to their physical appearance. And it's kind of fueling this excitement around being with you again or seeing you again, because it's like maybe they've gotten in better shape, or they're like a lot healthier now, or something like that. And that could be what it is. If there's like a plan or an event where you could run into this person, I feel like there's some excitement on their part, like for you to see them, because they're feeling more confident. They're feeling better about themselves in some way. Beyond the physical, this could have something to do with what they've learned or what they've achieved during this time of separation. It's like they're excited to share it with you. I don't know what is up with this person's energy, but it's almost not even like there is a separation. It's almost like there's no separation at all. It's like they feel all this anticipation. It's like they believe. I I don't know what this energy is. It's like they believe, they have so much hope. They might feel themselves opening up emotionally, but it doesn't, it feels like in some way they're not even really thinking of this as a separation, or they think that there's like the perfect moment for the two of you to come back together. They're excited about something. I gotta figure that out. It's much more uplifting and happy than I expected to come through for the energy of a connection and separation. So it is a little bit odd, but I am picking up on some optimism here about this connection. They're optimistic. You know how this is coming through? I feel like this person feels more prepared to share themselves with you than they did before. They're feeling more confident, almost in their capacity to love and to be loved, and that's making them feel like more ready. Yeah, okay, so your guides just gave me this analogy, so I hope this makes sense to you. It's almost like when you're going in to take a test or something, the feeling that you have when you have studied and you feel like you know the material inside and out versus the feeling you have when you don't know at all. Like one answer to any question that's going to be on that test and you already know it. It's sort of giving me that. It's like this, the way you walk in confidently, like I've totally got this, versus like, oh no, I don't want to take this test, I'm going to fail for sure. It feels like this person is feeling like there's going to be an opportunity for them to show their readiness, their eagerness, how prepared they are, like how much they studied for this. So this could be personal growth that's happening on their end, and they're like, I am in such like a better position now to share myself. There's definitely an element of that. And like they might feel that they're able to open up in ways that they didn't before. This is what they're growing toward. Like I want to throw that out there because it like I don't know how long you've been in separation, and it's going to vary for everyone. This separation is causing this. It's causing this causing them to move closer to a place of tapping into their emotions, a place of being ready to share themselves, but the exact place that they are in that is going to vary. But this is where their thoughts are going, this is where their energy is going, this is where their progress is going, this is the direction it's headed in. I feel like this person may have, this is so specific, this person may have looked into therapy, looked into talking to a counselor. They might have been reading like books on self-development, self-improvement, even books or material on relationships, like looking into certain things. This could be what's making them feel like they're so much more ready now. They could have even had more experiences in relationships that are making them feel more knowledgeable. For those of you that have been apart for like long enough that this person has been in another relationship, they could have been in several relationships during the time of the separation. It's like they think that they have more knowledge and more wisdom under their belt, like they're more skilled in relationships, they understand things on a deeper level. Potentially they're more in touch with their emotions now. And I kind of feel like that's what this is about. We have this caged heart here on the Door to Romance card. So I feel like this person wasn't in touch with their emotions, or they were covering up a lot emotionally. And it's like they're starting to figure out how to tap into that more emotional side of themselves. One way or another, they're starting to figure this out, and they just feel more prepared. I'm reaching for the cards now. I'm reaching for the cards, and your guides, I have to know. So we have tent, temporary situation. Oh, and we have caution, card 22. So I'm seeing right away you had 33 and 22 master numbers coming out for you. These might be numbers you've actually seen, but master numbers are really an indication of growth, especially spiritual growth. It can be an indication of manifestation. Yeah, so these numbers might be significant to you. I just heard birthday on the 2nd and the 3rd. Maybe the two of you have birthdays that are really close to each other, or something like that. That's weird. Okay, so I kind of understand why your guides wanted me to swim around in that energy for a little while before we looked deeper, because this is really adding to it. And for one thing, it's confirming this idea that there is optimism and there's hope here, because with the 10 card, this person thinks that the separation is temporary. This is not a permanent situation. So that kind of explains why all of that hopeful energy was coming through. And it's sort of like, why would somebody be so excited, you know, when they think about this connection? But it's like, they are excited because they believe that this no contact situation will come to an end. They're optimistic. And I also am getting this feeling of them being cautiously optimistic. And that is what I think is key here. Why your guides wanted me to feel that energy of like total optimism and then feel this, because now it's starting to waver. So I feel like they want to be very confident, they want to be very sure, and sometimes their confidence in this situation, their confidence in themselves and their belief will wobble a little bit. There is excitement, there's anticipation about the future of this connection, about ending the separation, but at the same time, they don't really want to get their hopes up because they're kind of afraid of getting let down, getting hurt. I don't know if this person was always optimistic or what, but for some of you, I'm really getting the feeling that this is a shift for them. It's a shift that they're working on, like seeing things more positively, trying to look at the brighter side of things, trying to look on the more hopeful side. And that's probably contributing to the new confidence that they're finding, because it really could be a feeling of confidence in the future, confidence in the idea of issues being resolved and things being worked out. Confidence in the plan, because for some reason this is sort of coming through as like the two of you planned a future together, and there might be a period of waiting, and it's like in the back of their mind they know that whatever situation they're in right now, it's not permanent. That's so interesting. It's like something, it's just not permanent. Not just the separation, but some other situation that they're in, even if they're having to endure something that they don't like. For some of you, this is like, the two of you are in separate places completely. There's the moon. There's the moon in the 10th card, and it's kind of bringing me back to the signs and looking up at the sky or something. So yeah, it's like the two of you are looking up at the same time. Sorry, I got so distracted by that. I was kind of seeing like the image of somebody camping or something, coming out of their tent and looking up at the moon, and it's like the two of you are doing that at the same time. But if there's kind of a situation where it's like you guys are in this period of separation, almost waiting for something to run out or waiting for something to change, and it could have even been something that you agreed upon, or this fell apart because you couldn't agree about it, but it's like they feel like once I get past this, maybe they're studying in a particular place or they're living in a particular place, and they just have to like get things in order, they have to leave something behind, but whatever they're involved in right now, they're just not seeing it as permanent, and they're not seeing the separation as permanent either. And then at the same time, they're scared to think that it might be. Like, they're being really positive, but those thoughts still sneak back in. Yeah. There is really this feeling of exploring the idea of like opening their heart and trusting. And then there's that fear kicking back in. Why do your guides want me kicking back in? Because this is, for a lot of you, this is a change for this person. To not be operating out of fear, to not be resistant, to not be negative. Like, I hate to say it, but to not be negative about this, to not be negative in general. It's a shift for them. And they're working on it, but like the fears still crop back up. Yeah. that fear kind of reminds them of their old patterns. It reminds them of returning to old patterns. It reminds them of how things went wrong in the past. I definitely sense a shift toward optimism and a shift toward like a plan to see you again or a plan to talk to you again, because this separation is temporary in their, like, that's how they view it, as temporary. I really do want to say, for some of you, if this person has explored other romantic connections since the two of you have been separated, I feel like there's this amount of cautious energy that they apply to these other situations. Like, they approach these relationships or this relationship very cautiously. They're guarded in the relationship. They're not giving their all. Yeah, they're very careful about who they spend their time with. And it's almost this feeling of not wanting to get attached because it's like they view it as temporary. This sounds really bad. This sounds really bad, but it's almost like that person is a placeholder. They don't really expect it to last. Wow. It does. It's coming across like that. Like, even if they're in some other relationship, it's like they know it doesn't really compare to what they had with you, and they keep themselves ready to pick up and leave at any point. And I feel like it's such an opposite energy, because they're opening up romantically on one hand, and on the other hand, they're almost afraid to let themselves feel. They're almost afraid to let themselves feel, because it's like they are viewing these situations as temporary. They're viewing the end of this. They're being optimistic about it, and everything in their, I feel like saying everything in their life right now feels like a placeholder, but it might not be everything for all of you. That's kind of extreme, but that's how it was coming through. Like, it all feels temporary because they might move away from that situation. Everything might change when they end this separation with you. And it's just kind of interesting energy. It's like they're waiting on something. What are they waiting on? What are they waiting for? I don't know. I feel like, especially if this person moved in with someone else, I just have to say this, if they started a connection that on the outside looks like it's really serious, like they live together, so it looks very serious, it's sort of like their heart isn't really in it, and they are aware of this, and it just is coming across like they're saving their heart for you. Even if on the surface it looks like they're happy, it looks like they're building something solid, with this tint energy, it's like there's really no foundation there. It's really not solid. And based on the other energy that came out, I kind of think it's like that's because the love isn't there in the same way, the passion isn't there in the same way. There's kind of something that they have with you that they can't seem to find anywhere else. That's the energy. Okay, I hope you kind of stuck with that, stuck with me through that, because it was a little bit weird, but I feel like that's the energy. For some of you, it's a very specific situation, like they literally moved in with someone else and they still view it as temporary, even though they've made these very like solid commitments. They're like, no, it's not for real. Like, I'll walk away from this. For others of you, it's not that specific of a message, but it's just the fact that they can't really find what they're looking for with anybody else or in any other situation. And in that way, everything has this transient, temporary kind of feeling to it, because it's like, that's not really it. It's like searching for happiness, searching for a place to land. You can't really find anything that feels good. And this could be anything. This could literally be where they physically live, what job they do. It's like they're searching to put these pieces in place, and they can't really figure out how to do that. So interesting energy. I wanted to use the Naked Heart Tarot with you guys, so let's get more information on how the separation is affecting your person. I want to look at two specific areas. I want to look at what has changed for this person during the separation. This can be changed for them, changed in them. What has changed in their life during this separation? I also want to look at what has remained the same. What didn't change? Because I feel like saying this, for some of you, what didn't change is a deal breaker. So, wow. Let's see. Okay, had both your cards fly out on the floor. What has changed? We have the Sun. Wow, that optimistic energy. And the Ace of Swords. Wow. There it is, though. It's like that optimistic energy. It's something's being developed in this person, a more hopeful outlook. To me, sometimes this is even a plan that got like illuminated for them. So they might have stopped thinking so negatively or feeling so stuck in a particular situation that a plan has been kind of revealed to them. Certain things have been brought to light for them. They see things more clearly. They were in the dark before, and now it's like there's a spotlight on something. With this Ace of Swords energy, I think that what's changed for this person is more of a desire to communicate. It could be at one point they didn't want to talk. So if that happened if this person like ghosted you, yeah, I feel like this Ace of Swords, not only does it say a newness in communication, like they want to start up new communication or communicate something to you, but this is energy of something that's changed in their life. So it's like at some point they might not have wanted to talk. At some point they might have been running. At some point they might have ghosted you. They might have not been responding to any message that you sent them. And it's like that energy has changed. They weren't ready. They weren't ready to talk about it, or they weren't ready to talk at all. They might have known the conversation would go to the places that they weren't ready to deal with, so they didn't want to talk at all. I feel like there really is, like, there's a desire to end the no contact, end the silence, start talking again, start something new. And this is highly likely because of something that they have realized now, something that's been illuminated, and some kind of shift in their outlook with that Sun card. And in general, I feel like this person is happier, and it's not like, I feel like they're a happier person. Like they're working on changing things to make them a happier person in general, to make them a more joyful person in general. So that could have been something in their life that was like weighing them down. It was depressing them. It was difficult for them to deal with. This could even be trauma in their past that they really hadn't healed from. And the Sun card is showing like a shift there, and that's probably why they've shifted, because I just feel like they just shifted toward more positivity. Even if they're not really all that positive, they are more positive than they were before. They see things differently than they did before. They're way more optimistic. I feel like this even has to do with them being ready to share that new optimistic and more hopeful view with you, like, or to communicate and express their emotions more, to give you a little bit of hope. They have this this desire to like communicate that joy and that hope to you. What has stayed the same? We have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I'm gonna open that energy up a little bit more. I don't know why, but I felt called to say that could be the deal breaker for some of you. And I didn't, in reading 1 and 2, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't have that thought that this could be a deal breaker. So this could have been like the reason that the separation happened was like, if this isn't going to change, I can't do this anymore. And for some of you, depending on like what's going on here, you might already have a clear idea in your mind of like, if I don't hear this, if this didn't change, if it's not this situation now, then like it's not going to work. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like in large part we already knew it didn't change. I feel like that's what's happening here, because we were already talking about this person's fears coming up. Look at the bottom of the deck. The Two of Wands. Decision. I'm gonna sit with that, because seriously, some kind of choice that this person needed to make for some of you might be relevant in this, and that's just coming through as something that is significant in your connection, that there's literally something that might not have changed. Some kind of choice that they need to make, a decision they need to make, and if it didn't change, the separation, like you're not really willing to end the separation. I think that what hasn't changed, or what hasn't changed completely, is this person's attitude, like that more pessimistic view, which is really stemming from fear. So I'm going to call it what it is. Their fear hasn't changed. It hasn't gone away completely. They're still hesitant. They're still worried. They're still concerned that a solid offer might result in a failure. Like if they really put in the effort here and they try to give you this Ace of Pentacles energy, which would be like a new beginning energy, of a solid beginning, something real. Like I feel like something you can actually sink your teeth into, not just words, not just a promise, actual action. They're kind of like worried that if they try for real, it could blow up in their face. A lot of times that's fear of rejection. And it's like that fear just that still pops up. This is about a fear of losing you, which I guess I was essentially saying, but it wasn't hitting, right? Because if we think about like the traditional Ace of Pentacles, there's a hand holding a large coin on like in a traditional deck, and if this card had come up in reverse, it would be like the coin was slipping out of their hand, slipping out of their grasp. And that's really about loss. That's about a fear of losing something. And I feel like this person might have been afraid to lose you even before they actually did. And then they did, which really could have just been a manifestation on their part, because they were always going around with this fear. But then they did, and now they're still plagued by that fear. They're kind of afraid to get their hopes up, like I was saying, cautiously optimistic. And this could even be about making a choice between two things, and they're like a little bit afraid to make that choice because they know that there's a potential for loss. They might lose, they might fail, they might mess up. It's like they have the same fears. They have the same fears they always did. They're moving toward a more optimistic view, but they have the same fears they always did. And I think for them, what's really important to note is they would only care if they lost something, if it was meaningful to them. Like, I just feel like this is the type of person that like wouldn't hesitate to do something out of fear. Like, they don't consciously know that they do that. Let me put it like that. They're not really aware of the fact that fear has held them back in this connection. That really just that scary idea of this is very meaningful to me and I could lose it will make them sometimes not try. It will make them sometimes not make a solid offer. They worry that things don't work out for them. And even though they've reached this turning point, they still have a fear that things can fall apart, that they can lose. Sorry about that. There's like a leaf blower going outside. I hope that's not too distracting. But yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune energy, I'm picking up on this feeling of almost feeling like the world is against them in some ways. And that's where a lot of this fear stems from. Like things outside of their control happen, and they're kind of afraid that the scales will tip in a way that will be very disappointing to them, very scary for them. So whatever fear was holding them back, it's still in there, which is understandable. It wouldn't just go away. I'm gonna leave that Two of Wands out. I do feel like saying they're definitely working on that. They're working on the fear that was holding them back. But it's just, they're just afraid of losing. And sometimes it's almost like they guarantee it. It's almost frustrating to feel, even though, I mean, I've done it before. We all do that, but it's like when you're really afraid you're gonna lose something, and it gives that energy of like, you're just gonna guarantee the loss. You're just going to act in a way that will guarantee that thing will slip from your life. So they're working on conquering that fear. They're working on opening that door. This door to romance is about unlocking the heart. Let's see what other messages want to come through. We have the Four of Swords. I've left this part of the reading like very open, and we'll just see what other messages want to come through. The Hermit. Wow, there's so much soul searching going on their part. That's why they are opening up more emotionally and making these changes. There's that Ace of Swords again. Something fell. Two somethings fell. Okay. We have the Two of Wands again. And the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah. So much clarity and confirmation. Not a lot of new messages, but definite confirmation of what we'd already seen. The Devil at the bottom of the deck. So the Devil can talk about anything that we're attached to. So this can be things that are in their life. Again, the idea of not becoming attached with this temporary energy, this temporary situation energy with the tent. It's like, so they don't want to become attached to something, to some situation in their life. They're careful about what they become attached to, because they're leaving room for the possibility of this. Yeah, they're leaving room for the possibility of this. There's definite, there's physical attraction here that I feel like is a major part playing into this, because we were even talking about that, the fantasies that they're having, kind of the romantic plans that they have, those nighttime thoughts that they're having about you and about this connection. That's showing up here again with the Devil energy. So there's definite physical attraction. And this person is really thinking a lot about what they're attached to, what they will tie themselves to, and trying to make a decision about something. Two of Wands showing up twice. Ace of Swords showing up twice. They want to talk. They want to talk. The fact that you had the Four of Swords and the Hermit come out, for some of you, this is past energy, this is past reflective energy, this is them taking the time to grow and evolve and taking a time out. This is really referencing the separation, but especially with the Hermit energy, Virgo energy there, Capricorn energy here. Sorry, I'm just noticing the signs. Leo. Taurus, Leo again, Scorpio, Aquarius with the Wheel card. Sorry, there's so many messages coming through, but it's like, especially this Hermit energy, this is energy of really discovering something, discovering what you want your next step to be, figuring that part out. And this could be energy that they're still in this period of taking a break, taking a step back and reflecting, stepping away from situations that they feel tied to, so that they can get a feeling and a sense of where they are, what they really want. Because I feel this conflicted energy. I feel this energy of making a decision with the Two of Wands showing up twice, planning something and trying to decide. And this Knight of Pentacles is again about this solid offer. And if I read just this section, which I am being called to do, I feel like there's this time of reflection, this Hermit energy time, this time where they need to pull away and be introspective in order to develop this plan with the Two of Wands, in order to move forward with a solid offer. The thing about this is, seeing this process behind the Knight of Pentacles is very significant, because the Knight of Pentacles does not move impulsively. When the Knight of Pentacles makes a move, it's slow, it's steady, it's well thought out, and this shows me the energy of something being well thought out. So It's like, I see time here. I see time passing, which could be an indication that the separation's been going on for a little while, or a little while than you would have liked. But it can also kind of be a reminder that this progress that they want to make, this movement towards you, it's not the fastest movement. I feel like communication will come faster, and that you might hear from this person through messages or a phone call before you see them in person. Because there's a lot they want to share with you, but it's like they want to be very careful about the offer that they make. They want it to be real. They want it to be solid. This is about a choice they needed to make. They want to make that choice before before they communicate with you. Because they want to be firm and solid on what their decision is, what their plan is. Let's see what messages we can get from your person. I don't react when people mention you. That's a real cover-up of feelings. I think that has to do with this fear, and it's like they just don't want to admit how hurt they might be or how scared they might be. I also feel like this person might be in a situation where it's not appropriate to talk about you or to react to you. There might be somebody, for some of you, if this person's in another relationship, it's like when your name comes up, they have to act like they're not affected, but they are. There's somebody, this might not be about a relationship, this could be about family or friends. They ask this person, how are you doing? How are you feeling about this? They act like they're okay a lot of the time. There was a message coming through with that, and I sort of want to explore that a little bit, because I think in a lot of ways they're realizing that they're still keeping a lot of this fear hidden. They're not sharing it with anyone. They're not talking to anyone. They're not getting help about it, but they're in this introspective place. And it's like, even when people want to reach out or want to know how they're doing emotionally, they're still kind of keeping that to themselves. Or that's something they just want to share with you. I bury myself in work to forget you. There is some element of covering this up. Yeah, there is some element of cover up here. And I think they know it now, and they're starting to try to get to the bottom of this. With that Hermit energy, that Four of Swords energy. They're curious about why they're doing that themselves. They want to, almost like they want to uncover these things. It's a process for them. I love you unconditionally. I'm going to get one more. What messages do you have for number 4? This energy with the distracting themselves with work, that can play back into that temporary situation. I think sometimes they tell themselves, I'm just going to distract myself right now because this will come to an end. They also might even view their work or some commitment that they have as sort of temporary, like, I'm just doing this for the time being, and once we're together, things are going to change in this way. It's interesting energy. Do you have another message for number 4? You might not get another message. This deck has been very selective today, and that's probably for the best, because I think that the messages, I feel like the messages are on point or are gonna mean something, so it might be kind of best to keep it simple. I feel you even though we're apart. That connection is still there. It's clearly there. I think this is on their mind a lot. Especially, I feel like that might be literal, because I think that this person does fantasize about you a lot, and it's like they actually physically feel like they're with you, and that might be that might be reciprocated. Like there might be times when you actually imagine that this person is there with you or holding you or something like that. It's like they're having that same experience on the other end. And it feels so real to them still. It's still very real. That's why their current situation is temporary, because it still feels so real to them. It's like they can still feel you. They're still connected to you. Devil energy. They're still attached. The Magician. Six of Cups, such sweet energy, such nostalgic energy. They're looking back over the time that the two of you had together, over the conversations you had, with a lot of fondness. They have good memories, and they just want to like step into this place of being able to be in control, being able to call the shots. I feel like in a lot of ways this energy here is very opposing, and this might be what's going on with them. They're realizing where they need to take more control in their life, where something is binding them, attaching them, you know, where they might have felt stuck. And there's this feeling of wanting to break out of that, wanting to step into the Magician energy, wanting to move forward. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you did like this reading, if you resonated with any of these messages, don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And hopefully I will see you again in another reading really soon. Bye.